in our house, the water come all the way up to the basement, ground. So it comes through the windows.
Okay.
They're the basement because the windows are about to the ground, close to the ground. It's above.
Yeah.
It's right there. So it got into there and then it busted somehow. I guess the amount of pressure that was in the ground come up through our concrete and busted our concrete in the basement. Oh, wow. So it didn't like break it open to where you see big breaks, but you can see like what we started noticing when it was raining, that the water was squirting up through the concrete.
Wow.
Just squirting.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
It is.
And then, with all that happening, I called my mom because I'm worried about her because she's in Bakersville. And I'm like, and then I see these videos on TV about Swananoa, and my daughter's out there in Asheville, right there at the mall. Her road that his grandmother and grandfather lived on was right there by the mall. Oh, and that was where it was so bad too up there because the mall was flooded real bad.
Yeah.
So I'm worrying to death about that. But I still hadn't talked to him. And it was like, me and David, either one. And it was like probably, I'd say at least probably 3 days after the flood. Wow. We still don't see no Red Cross. We still don't see no troopers or anything like that. And then here I finally get a text message from my daughter. And she said, Mama, if you get this, I'm okay. So it just killed me, to hear her voice to say, I'm okay, Mom. So I got in touch with her. I was able to, text and know she was okay. And then later on, the very next day, my son was able to text me. So he got that in. But it's like, when she got to finally call me, like in the 4th day it flooded, I think when I heard her voice and she said, Mom, she said, it's me. She said, I'm okay. She was just crying her eyes out, and I was crying my eyes out. And my husband, when he was talking to me, and he was crying, and it was just like, you don't realize what you can lose.
Right.
It's just so bad, and I thank God that we didn't lose any of us, but there's so many people that has lost so much, and that they're dealing with so much. They've lost their homes. They've lost everything. They've lost family members. And this ain't over. Their homes are not rebuilt. There's stuff in their homes
right now.
Yeah, there's nothing in their homes. I've talked to everybody. I've reached out because I am that person that calls people and gets stuff brought into the county. So I'm like that person that deals with that. And then I hear these places, like when I call up Spruce Pine, and I know those people. I went to school with them that's leading these, trying to get water and trying to get food and trying to get all this stuff together for people. And then she tells me they bring in their cadaver dogs, and they're up there for about 3 days or 4 days or something like that. And they're looking for these people, but then they take their cadaver dogs home. They leave. But nothing, like all these people, these bodies are underneath just
God knows
feet of dirt.
Yeah.
See, I've been having an issue with trying to get to the bottom of, okay, so it's simple math, and once you've seen what this thing can do and everything, that you can kind of make a roundabout educated guess as to how many people got buried under this mud and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But then you hear these numbers that are really low. And then why are you not, I understand, I'll leave the media part out of it. Why aren't just the people like crying out more? Like saying, hey, I had a bunch of neighbors. I don't have them anymore. Can somebody find them? You're not hearing that. I'm trying to figure out why. And then I talk to some people, and it seems like they don't want to say nothing bad about whoever, any government alphabet agency. Right. It seems like they're afraid.
Because people are afraid that if they say anything, that FEMA will not pay for their homes.
Right.
That FEMA will not pay for stuff. So if they speak out against FEMA, then FEMA will not wind up helping them and putting the money in their accounts. So they will have nobody that who's going to pay for their house. If they don't have flood insurance and they don't have insurance, then who's going to pay for their home to get fixed?
Right.
There's no rich people here that I know of that will give them money to fix their homes. There's nothing.
And there's too many homes.
Yeah.
It's
And
They've got
it's mobile
thousands.
homes, it's trailers parks, it's camper sites
Yeah,
where all the campers are gone that people actually lived in.
Yeah.
we saw that.
Yeah, and
We
it's just
saw some eerie stuff.
and the
when it
Buck
came
Creek
in.
is just
Oh,
That's
God,
what we saw that
yeah.
kind of still
Oh,
bothers me.
haunting.
yeah.
How did you? So like we were out of. God, I didn't have a phone that worked unless I was hooked to Wi-Fi for like 17 days or something
Yeah.
crazy. That's what people don't realize. Like these videos coming out and stuff like
I
that.
had to go out. I could not get service at home. I had to go all the way to Hickory,
That's what I did. I work in
Yeah.
Hickory.
and I went down Statesville, and that's where I started
Wow.
getting reception, and that's the only way.
Yeah, so people understand that.
And I
It's
still hadn't
over
talked to my
40
mother.
miles to Hickory.
Yeah, my mother I didn't get to talk to for about 2 or 3 weeks,
Oh my God.
and about the third week, I finally was able to hear from my brother and my mother that my mother was okay.
Oh,
So it's just like, and she don't have my father. My father's been dead for years, and she has my niece live with her, and one lived down below her. But I didn't know if my brother and his family was hurt. I didn't know if my mother was hurt. You know, I couldn't reach out to her. It's just so hard for
Nobody
people.
had any idea what to think because, okay, all we learned, I think, was from coming here to the church. Like,
yeah.
that was pretty much it. And we would hear stuff from your cousin that was across the street, but like everything she said kind of turned out to be wrong.
Yeah.
She was like, oh, Morganton's fine. Go there to get food.
Yeah.
The next day I went there and
Yeah,
there's cars floating by and like people
Yeah.
on boats trying to save people from the doctor's office. Then I had to go around that. Like you said, there's trees falling everywhere. I had to go all the way to Hickory just to get food. It turned into a 6-7 hour trip. She thought I was dead or
Well,
arrested.
yeah, we
or,
didn't have phones.
There's no phone.
There's no
I think
power
people
yet.
don't really grasp that
He's
part.
gone
I
for
know they've
6
heard it,
hours.
but people have heard it. But it's like what you just said. You have loved ones that ain't even that far away, but for several days you can't get a hold of them from a text.
Yeah.
But
Email,
I don't
messenger,
understand
phone
too.
call.
Why in the world? Why wouldn't we set up for a disaster to happen with our 911 systems? I mean, I know we've never had. I guess the flooding that we've had here since what was it? They said 19.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
about 100 years ago,
or
I think.
1860 or 1870 or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what if a disaster happens? Why are we not prepared for something like this? I mean, even though it's crazy, you usually don't get hurricane things like this.
In the mountains.
But
right.
what's crazy was it wasn't just the water;
Mm-hmm.
it was the winds.
Yeah,
It was
the
like
winds are crazy.
it was. I don't know if it was a tornado come through because
They
look
said
at those
several
trees.
tornadoes touched down in different places. So I think, especially in Swannanoa, there's been several people that have said that a tornado touched down there.
Even in Morganton, where I had that customer, I forget what they called it, but it was like these. They said it was almost like a little tornado spun off of
Yeah, like
the
they spin off
hurricane
the
wind
hurricane.
and tear a path, and
Yeah.
another one spin off here,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm not going to pretend to be a scientist, but supposedly that's something that's not
Yeah,
even possible.
I don't